game.
Yes!
Who's in the starting lineup?
Come on, son. You got to get out there and take the mound. It's game time.
What does the skipper have to say?
It's an attitude. You got to be willing to defend. You got to be willing to base run, or you can't play here.
It's the Leadoff Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in, Leadoff Show, taking you right up to first pitch right before. We'll get off right about 6 o'clock, first pitch, about 6:05, 6:10, somewhere in that area. Then after the last pitch, you make the switch. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show, the franchise Tim Allen and Evan Heffelfinger. Those two guys will take your calls, get you to go inside the locker room, here from Pat Murphy after the game. Tim is on after each and every game throughout the season, so definitely want to make sure to tune that one in. Okay, so good news. No moves by the Milwaukee Brewers. Nobody's going to the IL. Nobody's been activated necessarily at this point, so we can jump to the meat and potatoes.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the Leadoff Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Oh, buddy, this is going to be something here. All right, so Jacob Misiorowski on the mound for the Brewers tonight. Series tied at 1, so the rubber match game this evening. He goes up against Sean Manaea for the Mets. Misiorowski, 13-5 with a 1.68 ERA, 216 strikeouts. Sean Manaea, the lefty, goes for the Mets, 4-5, 4.31 ERA, 117 strikeouts. For the New York Mets, leading off and in center field, the lefty, A.J. Ewing. Francisco Lindor's at shortstop, batting second. Carson Bench, the rookie's in right field. Luis Robert Jr. cleaning up and in left field. Jared Young bats fifth. He's at first base. Marcus Semien is at second base. Brett Beatty is at third base. Christopher Morel is the designated hitter, and Francisco Alvarez is your catcher, batting ninth. Ewing, Lindor, Bench, Robert Jr., Young, Semien, Beatty, Morel, and Alvarez. For your Milwaukee Brewers, leading off and in left field, Jackson Chourio. Batting second and in center field, the switch hitter, Luis Lara. Batting third, the designated hitter, William Contreras. Hitting fourth and at first base, Andrew Vaughn. Hitting fifth, the catcher, Gary Sanchez. Hitting sixth and at third base, Joey Ortiz. Hitting seventh and in right field, Sal Frelick. Hitting eighth and at shortstop, Cooper Pratt. And hitting ninth, the second baseman, David Hamilton. I'd like to point out again that they are not stacking their light hitters back to back to back, which, again, I do appreciate at this point. The lineup, as you look at it, as it currently constitutes, shows you that there is no Bryce Terang in the lineup. There is no Christian Yelich in the lineup. There is no Garrett Mitchell in the lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers either. The other thing that is becoming rather apparent, and Tim Allen has brought this up, it appears that the Brewers have decided that maybe Yelich isn't going to play against lefties all that much, because it appears that there is some type of platoon going on here as far as when Yelich comes out, that then potentially helps to get maybe Gary Sanchez into the lineup and Contreras goes to the designated hitter role, or helps maybe to get Andrew Vaughn into the lineup a little bit if they want to put him at DH when Jake Bauers is healthy. Now, again, Jake Bauers still out with those shin splints, and we knew that he was going to be out a while with said shin splints, so shouldn't be all that concerning or whatever that he's not in there tonight. I think that's what everybody thought was going to happen, and then go for there. I will say that Tim calls him the cooler Pat Murphy, where somebody has a good game and then he benches them the next game. I don't quite understand the Bryce Terang thing unless he's hurt. And I was just on Adam McKelvey's X account while we were doing this show, and I don't see anything on here. There's some Dustin May news that we'll get to, but there is nothing on here about why Terang isn't playing. So not quite sure. In fact, we can go and look. In fact, let's do that right now. I'm curious as to what Bryce Terang's splits are this year as well. When we start talking about righty, lefties, and so forth. Oh my God. Charlie, have you ever looked at Bryce Terang's splits this year at all?
No, not really.
Bryce
not recently, at least.
Bryce Terang against righties, 284, 381 on base, 503 slugging.
Okay.
Bryce Terang against lefties, 193, 280 on base, 264 slugging.
Yeah, that's not too hot.
Oh my God, that is awful.
I mean,
Like, I legitimately clearly did not know and am really shocked that he is that bad.
that should help the Brewers in contract negotiations moving forward, maybe.
No, see,
He's that good.
There's the
you
way
gotta
to
jump
spin it.
right to it as a Brewers fan
There
sometimes.
you go. See, I love Charlie. You'll find a positive in anything you give him. Anything you give him in life, he'll figure out a way to spin it for you. Christian Yelich, again, he's just been bad. 240 against righties, 323 on base, 384 slugging. Against lefties, 217 against lefties, 287 on base percentage. Oh my goodness. 359 slugging. But when you look at the OPS, it's 707 against righties, 646 against lefties. There's not a gigantic difference. Terang, a gigantic difference between righties and lefties. So you look at that lineup, going back to that again, and your second baseman is David Hamilton. And we talked about like needing power at third base and all of that. My God, like I understand he's horrible against lefties, but could this here, what you see right here, be a lineup in the postseason for the Brewers where Hamilton is at second base, Ortiz is at third, and Pratt's at shortstop? Even with Jake Bauers in this lineup, say Bauers is in the lineup in place of Sal Frelick, let's say, in right field, that gives you another power bat. But all three of those guys in the lineup instead of Terang, that is a gut punch if they have to run that out there against lefties. But based on his track record this year being that bad against lefties, I mean, you can't argue the decision if they decide to go that way. All right, let's get to it.
Did you miss the last game? Did you miss what was said after the last game? It's time to rewind. It's the Leadoff Show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's go back to that game last night. And there is lots and lots to get to. We had the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show last night. But when we got off the air, there really wasn't much still posted. We played some Sal Frelick. We had played Pat Murphy at that point, but we had not gotten sound on Dustin May or Robert Gasser at that point. So I will definitely let you hear some of that. But before we get to all of that, there's plenty of highlights to play from last night's game. This Brewers team got rolling right away there in the second inning.
Pat Murphy answering a lot of questions today in the media session about that and last night.
That's lined in the left. It will fall. A base hit, and the Brewers take the lead. So David Hamilton comes up with a big hit. 3 straight knocks. Start the second inning. 1-0 Brewers.
Well, how about that? You know, needing to get some results with runners in scoring position. David Hamilton comes through right here.
These are the type of things that will alleviate some potential questioning of why guys are playing. If Hamilton can just be average at the plate, right? If Hamilton hits, I don't know, 250, 260, somewhere in that area the rest of the way out. I mean, he's hitting 237 for the year. If he hits 250, 260, for September, let's say, maybe you feel a little bit better about that kind of going forward. If you look at Hamilton's numbers here in August, hitting 241, 323 on base, 345 slugging. That's not great. Again, OPS 668. OPS 668 as well in July. Didn't play nearly as many games, obviously. Then in June, OPS of 715. In May, OPS of 567. He was really bad in May. I'll go back to April, OPS of 617. So, I mean, realistically, what you have here the last 2 months is probably who David Hamilton is going to be going forward. 241, 323, not big slugging numbers because he's not a power hitter by any stretch of the imagination. That probably is good enough. It's definitely good enough to be a guy off the bench for this baseball team in a postseason situation. So Hamilton gets the runs scoring going there in the second. Then Sal Frelick came up.
Frelick through the left side, base hit. That'll score a couple of more runs. 3-0 in the second inning.
I tell you what, that shoulder's feeling good for Sal Frelick.
That's good. They're going to need Sal Frelick. I'm certain of that going forward, especially if Murphy starts shying away from playing young guys. They'll definitely need it probably a little bit more. Garrett Mitchell jumps into the action in the second.
And Mitchell rockets one to right. Pratt will score. Frelick on his way to third. 6 straight hits in this second inning.
Yeah, just jumping on a first pitch sweeper from Stock. Yeah, I'm not sure why pitchers continue to do that against Garrett Mitchell. He's so good at keeping his hands back and trying to throw a hit-me-over breaking ball.
So highlights all courtesy of Brewers TV. So Garrett Mitchell comes through with an RBI knock there. You feel good there. But then the knockout blow, I guess you would say, comes in the fourth inning with a couple guys on. Bryce Turang, who Pat Murphy said, and I'll play Bryce a little bit of Pat Murphy for you too here, but Pat Murphy said Bryce Turang early in the day on Wednesday was the only one there, him and the clubbies, and he was in there working, trying to get some extra swings and trying to figure it out.
High fly, deep into right. Back is Benj. See ya. A 3-run bomb for Bryce Turang. It's his first in the month of August.
If you have children, and they play sports, you just take that Pat Murphy clip and you just play it for them. Look, he's struggling hitting the baseball. So what is he doing? He's putting in extra time and extra work and extra practice to try and get himself out of this funk. Does he have to? No. He could show up with all the other players and take BP. Heck, he could show up and take extra BP with 3 or 4 other guys a little bit earlier than everybody else takes BP. He could do that. He decided, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need everybody else. I'm just going to go work myself in some peace and quiet and try and figure this out. That's a guy that wants to get better, wants to figure out how to get himself out of the funk that he's been in. It's been a minute since he hit a long ball. So that is, again, just another example. And it could be baseball, it could be basketball, not hitting your shots, right? Not hitting your jumpers, whatever. Could be football, could be any sport, soccer, whatever. Put in the extra work, put in the extra effort. Even when you're struggling, that's when it's even the most important. Try and get yourself out of your funk by putting in extra time to get yourself right again. Christian Yelich, it appears he's gotten himself right here in the last week or so.
Yelich bangs one into right, a base hit. That'll get another run home. Turang puts on the brakes. It's 8-1.
8-1, and that's where it would finish. That was there in the 6th inning. Again, highlights of from Brewers TV. We'll hear from some of the people that talked after the game coming up next. We've got Pat Murphy, Robert Gasser, Dustin May, Sal Frelick, all those guys coming up straight ahead. Plus, we'll eye up the enemy. We'll build a winner. All of that to come here on the Leadoff Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Brewers, Mets, Game 3, the rubber match. Each team has won one game. And then you have the Rangers on the horizon back in American Family Field tomorrow. Don't forget, take those shuttles to and from home games at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Got to make a $5 wager inside the sportsbook. Tell me you want a bracelet to wear for the sportsbook shuttle to take it to and from the game, and you're all set. More information, go to Potawatomi.com for that. Jacob Mizorowski on the mound, 13-5, 1.68 ERA, 216 strikeouts. Against Sean Manaea, 4-5, 4.31, 117 strikeouts. For the Mets, A.J. Ewing's in center field. Francisco Lindor's at shortstop. Carson Bench is in right field. Luis Robert Jr., the former White Sox outfielder, he's in left field, batting fourth. Jared Young's at first base. Marcus Semien at second base. Brett Beatty, the third baseman, batting seventh. Christopher Morel at DH, and Francisco Alvarez is your catcher. Ewing, Lindor, Benj, Robert Jr., Young, Semien, Beatty, Morel, and Alvarez. For your Milwaukee Brewers, Jackson Chourio is in left field, batting second. The Rook, Luis Lara. Hitting third, and a designated hitter, William Contreras. Hitting fourth, and at first base, Andrew Vaughn. Gary Sanchez has catcher duties today. So what do we think? ABS challenge is gone by the third inning is probably my guess. Joey Ortiz is at third base and batting sixth. Sal Frelick is in right field. Cooper Pratt back at shortstop and batting eighth. And David Hamilton is at second. Chourio, Lara, Contreras, Vaughn, Sanchez, Ortiz, Frelick, Pratt, and Hamilton. If you weren't tuned in earlier in the first segment, I went and looked at Bryce Terang's splits because he just hit a home run yesterday, put all this work in, and now he's sitting today, and he is brutal. Sub 200 against lefties this year. Not good for Bryce Terang. So Terang is out. Yelich's numbers are a little bit worse than against righties, and there's been a notice, as Tim Allen's pointed out, that he hasn't really been playing against lefties here in the last week or so, week 10, 2 weeks, I don't know, 10 or so games. So not too big of a surprise that he's not in the lineup against Sean Manaea today. And then the other notable name out of this lineup is Jake Bauers. He, of course, has the shin splints that he's dealing with. Not sure when he will be back. Speaking of not sure of when they will be back, Dustin May is a guy that last night got absolutely drilled by a ball, 106-mile-an-hour exit velocity. First pitch of the game, right in his back by a scapula or whatever. X-rays came back negative, all good. Should be okay. Adam McKelvey from Brewers.com earlier this afternoon said Dustin May just headed out to play catch. He's a little sore, but says nothing major. Incredibly, he says he doesn't have a bruise from getting smoked by a 106-mile-an-hour liner last night. Do we believe him? I mean, 106 miles an hour. I mean, my kid at 8, 9 years old got drilled by a pitch that was probably going 50, maybe 60, and it left ball seam marks on his arm. This dude got drilled by a baseball with an exit velocity of 106 miles an hour. He doesn't even have a bruise? That's insane. McKelvey goes on. If everything goes to plan for Dustin May in the coming days, he could slot back into the rotation on Sunday, what formerly was Gasser's spot, Pat Murphy said. To which I will say, because that was brought up by a texter earlier in the show that they could potentially do that. To which I will say that's just really dumb. I don't really understand why you would do that, because there are other options, I think, of what you could potentially do. That Colton Gordon dude is the guy that's probably scheduled. He's pitched on Tuesday. So it would be his turn in the rotation. You could potentially call him up, let him be that guy in the rotation. And that way you keep intact the idea that May, Miz, Henderson, and Harrison all still pitch in that Cubs series. By playing him on Sunday, now he's not pitching in that Cubs series. I pass. No. I want Dustin May in the Cubs series. This is your chance starting on Monday to officially bury them for this division. You take 3 of 4 against the Cubs, Monday through Thursday, all primetime night games, no afternoon games. You take 3 of 4 and you pretty much can say goodbye to them, providing, you go into that series up 5.5, 6.5 up on starting on Monday. You win 3 or 4, and all of a sudden, you're 8.5 up or 9.5 up before this whole thing is said and done. And you're into September. Yeah, they're done as far as the division goes. And then you can really have all of your focus on what you want to do as far as how aggressive you want to be with keeping the best record in the NL, and how much that 1 seed truly means to you kind of going forward. All right, so back to last night with this Brewers 8-1 victory. After that game was done, Brewers manager Pat Murphy talked.
Murph, what did Gasser give you tonight and just being able to come in and cover parts of 6?
Yeah, we planned, just using May as an opener and then bring. No, hey, he was great. He really was. I mean, that's not an easy assignment. And he knew he was available tonight in a small role, but he went ahead and gave us parts of 6, like you said. Great, really great. Made big pitches at big times. Yeah, and you got to give William credit. William did a great job jockeying him through that.
Total 180 from his start last week.
What's that?
Was there a total 180 from his start last week in Seattle?
Yeah. I mean, it was much better. Yeah, Gas has been pretty consistent for us. He's had a bump in the road here and there, but he's been pretty consistent.
For May, we heard contusion, which sounds like good news. Is the early read that he dodged something?
Well, I mean, when you get hit by 106, I don't know if you've ever been hit by 106, but it's probably pretty painful. It had to have hit a few areas that could, hurt you really bad. So it hit him in the upper, shoulder blade. Looks like he's going to be okay.
For a moment, it looked like he wanted to continue. What were the conversations out there?
It was it was throbbing. He just felt it was throbbing, and there was no reason to, how do we know if there's not something wrong in there? So,
Quite a response by the offense in the next inning, lining up all those hits.
Yeah, it was great. Vaughn on a hit and run, and, Hamilton, good piece of hitting. Sal was great tonight. I mean, Sal Frelick on base 4 times his first game back. It's fantastic,
You always want to have an inning like that. What was particularly important with Gasser just having come into the game and having to go to the long term?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a little breather. And, it doesn't, with this type of the way the Mets are playing, 4-run lead is not safe. So we knew that, but it was, we made a base running mistake there that's inexcusable in that inning. That took us out of it, but would have been a couple more runs. But sure enough.
Murph, where is the mistake on that play? Is it all Mitchell, or is there something?
No. It's we had a miscommunication. Let's leave it at that. It wasn't the player's fault. Player did what he was told.
How big was that terrain homer? Not only for today's game, but to give him something.
Bullpen. Yeah, for the bullpen and for Terang. He was here much later than he was here. What's today? What day of the week is it? He was here early Wednesday morning working, and the clubhouse guys can tell you early in the morning Wednesday, working on getting it right. So it's great to see that a couple walks and a homer.
Makes me feel so good when he says, "What day is it?" I mean, that's beautiful. I can relate to that. I do that every day with Charlie. That's why I make him literally write on the rundown what day it is and what day of the month it is and all that stuff. I would hate for Christmas to come and go and not know that I missed it because I'm so wrapped up in everything else that's going on. Spoke of Dustin May, and I talked about Dustin May there a little bit from what Adam McKelvey had to say. This was Dustin May last night after the game.
How do you feel now, and how did you feel in the moment?
In the moment, didn't feel great. It took my breath away. I was trying to just be able to get my breath back. Probably could have finished that inning, but it's better safe than sorry, not trying to push through it. Right now, I feel okay. It's just a bruise, so no damage or anything structurally, so that's good. Just got to come in tomorrow and see how I feel.
How seriously did you consider staying? It looked like initially after the first pitch,
warm-up pitch.
Yeah, I mean, when I threw it, it felt fine. But sitting there for a couple seconds after, threw the next one, and then it was like it didn't feel right. And they were more on the cautious side of better to be safe now and protect you for later.
Did you feel anything like in your arm?
No, it was all scap related. It got like half of my scap, half of my lat. Like I said, it took my breath away, and it was trying to calm down enough to get my breath back while I was out there.
You've seen games where stuff happens and then it kind of throws the pitching staff for a couple of days. What do you think about the job Gasser did to cover?
Yeah, that was fantastic. It was a blessing in disguise, him not having to get out there yesterday and being able to have him out there. Definitely wasn't the initial game plan to have him come in the first like that and cover, but very lucky and blessed to have him out there. He did a hell of a job.
Is it too early to have any idea how long it might set you back?
Yeah, I think it all just depends on how I come in tomorrow feeling. Right now, motions and movements and stuff feel better. Now that I know nothing is structurally wrong, it's just more about me being soft or me being able to be okay with it.
Given all you've been through in your career, were there a few minutes of, oh geez, is there something else going? Another
No, not in the moment. I'm thinking about trying to stay in the game at that point. Definitely not anything about that.
And I just say I chuckled and laughed when Dustin May's like, yeah, there's nothing structurally wrong. Says, yeah, he's either going to be, I'm going to be soft or I'm going to be able to play through it. Like that mentality is beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love that mentality. Like that dude could roll on my team any day of the week. Because what that tells you is, again, we talked about this earlier with different Packer players, guys that mentally can play through stuff. And again, the key here is I don't want you playing hurt and then hurting yourself even worse because you're being tough guy and not telling anybody. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this here where now they claim he doesn't have a bruise, whatever, but playing through with whatever he is feeling, right? Knowing he can't make it any worse. It's just a contusion, whatever, playing through it still, while other guys might not be able to, as he put it, being soft and can't handle the pain. So I'm not going to go out there and help my team, even though you could, and some guys would, you choose not to. That type of stuff. I love that type of stuff. All about it. Robert Gasser, the guy that everybody's talking about last night, coming in and doing a yeoman's work.
It's you out there kind of watching, not throwing too much, but trying to be ready. Just how uncomfortable are those few minutes where you're not sure if you're about to go in the game or not?
Yeah, it's definitely something I haven't had to experience before. I didn't even sit down out there before, they were saying move around. So I feel like it was kind of made it a little easier almost that way because I didn't have to sit down. But it was definitely a new experience.
Did you expect to throw one way or another today?
Yeah, that was the plan. Obviously, I think yesterday was the day that we wanted to get out there. The game dictated that, but it was supposed to be, shorter today, but obviously circumstances changed and had to adjust.
What's it like coming in after just one pitch?
Crazy. It happens fast. Like I said, I didn't even get a chance to sit down out there in the bullpen. So it's crazy.
And how satisfying is it for you to perform that way on such a very short notice?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is that it saves the bullpen. Today could have been, definitely crazy and impacted us on this long stretch. So going into 6 today was huge.
Are there anything you'll take from that experience of just to get up and go?
Yeah, geez. Some of the game I was a little upset with. Obviously it was great to get out there and go deep. But I was a little upset by stolen bases, the walks, and just not being competitive once there was 2 outs. I feel like I threw a lot of balls after I got 2 quick outs. So, there's definitely some things I want to improve on from that. But, at the end of the day, I'm happy and we got a win, so that's great.
You had a pretty quick first inning and then a long top of the second. How much did that help you? A, the length, and B, the fact that you got the 4 runs?
Yeah, it's huge. It kind of was like a flashback to my last outing where I got some run support and wasn't able to get out there and throw enough strikes and keep them at bay. So it was good to get out there today and do that.
fastball looked like it was pretty effective, and you had some juice on it.
Yeah. I mean, it had some life at the top of the zone, was getting some swing and miss up there early, so we were able to go to it. And then, the later part of the game, we went to the sweeper and got some good strikeouts on that.
Have you ever had an outing delayed by a squirrel?
No, I have seen that it happens here more than other places, but yeah, it was funny seeing him run across the field. But he did lead to a walk, so I was a little disappointed with him.
All right, there is Robert Gasser talking. He did come up big, huge. And again, that previous outing, he gave up 4 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. He just didn't play well. The Brewers won that game, but just didn't play well at all. And that's a part of this that I think if you're Pat Murphy, you really enjoy about this team. And I'm not going to sit here and be like every single guy is like that or whatever. They all have their deals one way or the other. But seeing guys struggle and then bounce back and have a big performance the next time from a pitching perspective. Now, the issue becomes obviously when you struggle in back-to-back outings and it doesn't look like you're going in the right direction. That's when Pat Murphy and potentially Matt Arnold get nervous and then make a move. See Bransbro, right? Okay, you can't figure this out. So we're going to send you down there and we'll see if you can figure it out at this point. And Gasser's been down there, obviously, at one point. Shane Drone, they've been pretty much staying with all year, regardless of kind of what he does, because his ability to get deeper into games is a big, big thing with them. As far as being able to give us 6 innings and 3 runs. You don't got to be Miz. You don't got to throw 7 shutout innings or whatever. Just save our bullpen and let me be able to throw 3 guys, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and keep us in the ballgame. You do that, Shane Drone, you're great. Because again, what are you? You're the 5th pitcher in this rotation right now. So that's more than fine as a 5th guy in the rotation. And Gasser coming in and doing what he did. And remember, he's going to be a guy that's going to pitch out of the bullpen in the postseason. Like, there's absolutely no question that that's how this whole thing is going to play out going forward. So that was a nice thing to see too. Speaking of the Brewers relievers, they have a 1.52 ERA in the last 25 games. That's 94 and 2/3 innings pitched, 16 earned runs, holding opponents to a 183 batting average and posting a whip, which is walks, splits, hits, divided by innings pitched, of 0.99. The bullpen has a sterling 0.92 ERA over the last 8 games at this point, with a 2.12 average against and a 1.17 whip, including allowing just 1 run over 8 and 2/3 innings and last night's victory. All really good stuff for sure from the Brewers relievers. Take a quick timeout, continue on. It is the Leadoff Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Looking up, and it is gone.
It's almost time for the first pitch. Let's see who's in today's starting lineups. Brought to you by Lakeland University. Experience it your way. Visit lakeland.edu. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Don't forget, you can always watch the leadoff show on the Growth Law video stream on Instagram Live, X, and YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Injured, Growth gets it. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Don't forget, after the last pitch, you make the switch, like you have for 21 years, to the franchise Tim Allen for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. Him and Evan Heffelfinger in here tonight, and hopefully talking about a win by your Milwaukee Brewers. Rubber match game 3 in New York City Field. Pitching matchup, Jacob Mizorowski, 13-5, 1.68 ERA. Sean Manaea, left-hander, 4-5, 4.31 ERA for New York. Their lineup, A.J. Ewing in center field. Francisco Lindor at shortstop, batting second. Carson Benj, the rookie, is in right field. Luis Robert Jr. is in left. Jared Young is at first base. Marcus Semien is at second base. Brett Beatty is at third. Christopher Morel at designated hitter. And rounding out the lineup, batting ninth, Francisco Alvarez is the catcher for New York. It's Ewing, Lindor, Benj, Robert Jr., Young, Semien, Beatty, Morel, and Alvarez. For the Milwaukee Brewers, leading off, Jackson Chourio is in left field. Luis Lara is in center. William Contreras, the designated hitter, hitting cleanup. Andrew Vaughn is at first base. Gary Sanchez is catching. Joey Ortiz is at third base and batting sixth. Sal Frelick is in right field, batting seventh. Cooper Pratt at shortstop, batting eighth. And David Hamilton playing second base and batting ninth. Chourio, Lara, Contreras, Vaughn, Sanchez, Ortiz, Frelick, Pratt, and Hamilton. No Bryce Terang today. No Christian Yelich. No Garrett Mitchell. No Jake Bowers. Bowers, for sure, is the one that is banged up with the shin splints. Other ones, I don't believe anything is wrong with any of them based on anything I've seen coming out of the beat writers that are in New York. So that is your lineup. We'll see if they can do something with Jacob Mizorowski on the mound. If we're being honest, they always have a chance when Mizorowski pitches. Right now on the road this year for Jacob Mizorowski, he is 6-4, the 1.75 ERA in 10 starts this year on the road, which is always a good thing. As far as against the Mets, he took a 7-3 loss last July at Citi Field. 3 2/3, 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, gave up 2 home runs in that game, and only struck out 2, and had a no decision and an August 3rd win this season on July 20th at American Family Field. 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, none earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. So we'll see what Mizorowski does coming up tonight against New York, but I wouldn't say he's been special by any stretch of the imagination against him to this point. So hopefully tonight he has another special outing like we've seen so many times from Jacob Mizorowski throughout. With that being said, let's go do this.
Nobody likes them.
Craig Counsell returning to American Family Field.
We all want to see them lose.
It's not my job to tell people how to feel about something or even to figure it out. Let people feel how they want to feel. And I'm good with that, and I think it doesn't have to be all positive.
It's time to eye up the enemy for today's game. It's the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, we'll start off with how the Mets have done against Mizorowski in 2 starts so far. Ewing hitless, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Francisco Lindor, 2 for 4, does have a home run and an RBI against Miz. Carson Benj, rookie, has not seen him yet. Luis Robert Jr., 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Young, 1 for 2. Marcus Semien has not seen him yet. Brett Beatty, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Christopher Morel has not seen him yet. Francisco Alvarez, 1 for 1. So limited amount of at-bats. Obviously, only 2 starts for Miz against these guys. Sean Manaea, he's been around for a while now. So his numbers against Jackson Chourio. Chourio, 2 for 6, a home run, 2 RBIs, and a strikeout. Lara, the rookie, has not seen him, nor has Pratt or David Hamilton. The rest of the guys that have seen him, William Contreras, 4 for 11, a home run, an RBI, and 4 strikeouts. 2 for 8 for Andrew Vaughn, an RBI, and 2 strikeouts. Gary Sanchez, 3 for 10, 2 RBIs and 2 strikeouts. Joey Ortiz 1 for 6, 2 RBIs, and Sal Frelick 1 for 4 with 1 strikeout. I feel relatively okay. 333 for Churiel, 364 for Contreras, 300 for Sanchez, 250 for Vaughn and Frelick. It feels like, doesn't mean it's going to happen, it feels like there is a good chance that the Brewers can put up some runs on these guys and you feel good about things. Now, what I don't feel so good about is they're under a severe thunderstorm watch in New York right now. And at 7 o'clock Eastern time, so 6 o'clock our time when this thing is supposed to start, it says thunderstorms, 79% chance of thunderstorms. At 8 o'clock, 66% chance of thunderstorms. And then at 9 o'clock, it dips to under 50% and says mostly cloudy skies. So based on AccuWeather, you may see a rain delay or two in this one, depending on how accurate they are. Let me just check Adam McKelvey here and see if he's got anything on tarps on the field or anything of the sort as of right now. Nope, I don't see anything. So I am assuming this thing should start, but the weather forecast does not look stellar for the Milwaukee Brewers for tonight's game in New York by any stretch of the imagination. All right. That being said, let's move on to this.
The key to building a winner in baseball is a strong minor league system. Who are the names we should know? How did they play in their last game? It's time for Building a Winner. It's the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
We only got a couple minutes left here, so I'm not going to have time to go all the way around the farm system. But I do want to play this one right here.
$1 gift card heading to Hortonville. Hey, Betanti! He is gonna get it out of here! Back to back, and Betanti has tied Braylon Payne for the single season home run record. That's number 23 for number 24.
Eric Betanti crushing that one. Again, as you heard there, Timber Rattlers play-by-play on the call. That's a pretty big deal. The record is 24, and the record will be his if he gets to that. Right before he hit his, Daniel Dickinson of the T-Rats also hit his 10th of the year. He also has 51 steals. He hit 315 in July, hitting over 350 in August is Daniel Dickinson for the T-Rats. I went and looked up Betanti's numbers because Betanti's been in the system for a while now. They got him straight out of high school. And there was always a lot of buildup, I guess, around him because of how big he is. He's 6'5", 218. He is 21 years old. He'll be 21 in November. So still, relatively young, I guess. You want to see him move up, I would say, to Double-A at some point next year if he doesn't start at Double-A next year. But if you look at Betanti's numbers this year, and he's rotating between first base and third base, hitting 274 right now in the month of August, 373 on base, 536 slugging in August. In July, he hits only 213, 347 on base, 525 slugging. If you go back to June, 316 average, 418 on base, 579 slugging. So he's definitely giving you enough to buy into him potentially being that guy. For the season, 266 average, 388 on base, 903 OPS. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. 23 homers, 76 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, and 82 runs scored for Eric Betanti this season. So a very nice season, and I would expect to see him probably start next year in Double-A would be my guess. The other thing that came through on the T-Rats earlier today was a promotion. Josh Noth, a guy that a lot of people like, including MLB Pipeline and Baseball America, he gets promoted to the Biloxi Shuckers. So he is headed up to Biloxi, which is very cool. And the T-Rats tonight are wearing those bratwurst uniforms of theirs that seemingly everybody really, really likes, with the lederhosen and all of that fun stuff. I can't say that I've ever really gotten into it, but I'm sure that the swag is really good. Like they have T-shirts that say like "on my," and then they have like a bratwurst with sauerkraut on it. Behavior. on the back of the shirt. I'm sure they'll sell well in Appleton for the T-Rat games. So good stuff there on the Brewers and the T-Rats. One disappointing thing, I guess you could say, as good as the Brewers farm system is, and they were ranked 1 most of the year, and now I think they're ranked 3rd, they only have one team in the postseason. One. And that's Biloxi, and that's only because they won the first half. Nobody else from the rest of the minor league teams made the playoffs outside of Biloxi. So that's kind of disappointing, I guess you could say. All right, that'll do it for the leadoff show. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The franchise, Tim Allen, Evan Heffelfinger tonight. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. After the last pitch, you'll make the switch right here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Have a good night, everyone. Toodles!